Hello everybody. I wanted to give you today a little tour of some wheat harvest operation that happened today on the farm. What you see here is one of the big combines that's used to actually harvest the wheat, and it takes some big equipment to do this, so we rely on other nearby farmers to help us out. Davey Orwick is behind the wheel of that combine there. You see that the combine has a different head for wheat than it would for corn. You see the big thing in front called the head that goes round and round, and it pulls the wheat up into the combine. The combine separates the grain from all of the straw and everything else that's left. You can see the grain going into the hopper at the very top of the combine, and you can see all of the refuse coming out the back of the combine. Now, when you're working with wheat, the rest of that refuse is very valuable. It can be made into straw bales, and straw comes in pretty handy for all kinds of things. We use it for strawberries. You'll find it in another clip on the website where we actually use it to put between the rows of strawberries. It's real good for them. So in any case, you see the hopper filling up there. What he's going to do with that is offload it using that big pipe that's out the back of the combine. It'll go into a tractor trailer and be taken away for food. So this is a kind of a nice picture of what that wheat harvest looks like. So Davey didn't do the baling of the straw that was left over. Another farmer's done that, and they've got all kinds of great equipment to do that. So here's a picture of their baling operation in progress. It's about half done at this point. And this is only, I think, 2 days later than the previous frames that you just saw of the harvest. So what they're doing now is they're baling the straw into small bales that get formed into these bigger lumps that you see all over. So they just dropped a big bale out of the back of that first machine, and you can see the second tractor there has got a bale on the back that's about to drop. Now, interestingly enough, you see that there are these windrows of straw, and that doesn't happen without a good bit of effort. So up ahead here we see a rake that is, he's just now putting down his booms. There goes the rake right now, and you can see that he's fluffing everything into a common row, and that's something that the baler then can handle. As long as it's all in one nice tight little row. Now you have to pick the weather right to be able to do all of this kind of stuff. It needs to be a nice dry day because you don't want wet straw all packed together, because you'll end up with something that will just rot and make a mess. So this was a nice day to be baling. It was a beautiful flying conditions and lots of nice visibility. Fun day to do this kind of thing, especially when somebody else has got this big equipment and it makes it look so easy. The way this was done in the old days is that the baler went through the field, and he'd have 3 or 4 boys in the back, and they'd use a kicker, and the bale would fly through the air literally into a wagon in the back, and the boys would have to stack it by hand into the wagon, and then it would have to be stacked by hand into a barn, and then it would have to be stacked by hand someplace else. These big machines make it a heck of a lot easier. They make little bales, but then they combine those little bales into these big bales that are all wrapped together. And so after they're all wrapped together and they're left all over the field, there's one more step that has to happen, and we'll fly down and look at them doing that next. So there's a picture of a tractor with a big wagon behind it that was getting ready to leave with these big bales on it. It looks like they have a third piece of equipment also that was baling. You'll notice that there's a windrow right in front of this tractor, but behind it there's some bales, and he stopped right now. And I didn't really think much of it until I actually looked at the video. But if you look at the bales that are behind this tractor, they're not all beautiful. I think what they're doing is they're doing some work on the baler right now, trying to figure out what's wrong with it. That bale kind of looks okay, but the next bale back the row there, see how it's all broken apart. and the one behind that is all broken apart. So maybe something was wrong with that baler. So now we're flying to the very back of the field, and we'll see how they stack all of these bales together and pick them up, because obviously they're too big to be moved by hand. Each one of the small bales weighs 25 pounds, and I don't even know how many of the small bales are in one of those big bricks, but you'd be looking at many hundreds of pounds, if not 1,000 pounds. So they use big equipment. So what you have here is a skid steer that's running around and picking up these bales and slapping them up onto this tractor trailer. He's got a fancy attachment on the front there that's got claws that dig into the straw and grip it very nicely. So we'll end the flight today with something that's not wheat and straw and field crops. We'll go take a look at the orchard, just because this is one of my favorite views of our orchard in the back. It's kind of a little hidden spot back there where you can't see any signs of other people or anything else. It's a real pretty pond. Hope you've enjoyed it.